All right, what's up, guys? Today we are talking about the brand new upcoming Bread and Butter Loco. Now, if you've been in pickleball for a minute, you might remember that Bread and Butter actually had a Loco previously, and this is a completely different paddle. This one is made entirely of foam, and it is also a power paddle instead of a control paddle. So do just be aware that if you owned one of those previous Locos and you were hoping it was just that paddle coming back, this is one that is completely different from that. All right, now before we get into this video, I do just want to let you guys know that if you look at this paddle, you'll probably notice that it looks different than what is on the Bread and Butter website. And that's because this has the old Loco graphics on it. This is technically a pre-production unit. They were still finalizing the graphics when we got some of our units to test. So I just wanted to be upfront with you guys, let you know that this technically isn't final, but they've told me that everything will be the same between what I've got and what is being shipped to you. But generally, I don't talk about pre-production units, but since we can't get our hands on a production unit until you, the consumer, get one, I figured you guys would probably rather hear about the paddle than wait all the way until October for me to be able to talk about it a little bit. So anyways, just wanted to give you guys that heads up. Now, just like a lot of foam core paddles out there, this has a lot of things that are really appealing about it, but it's going to depend on the type of player you are and what you're looking for, whether or not it fits you. So in this first impressions video, I'm going to tell you what I found so far and then try and break down who I think should buy this paddle. As always, if you want the specs, those will be on screen now. One of the things you'll probably notice is that this is one of the only full foam core lineup of paddles that actually comes in all three shapes. They have a wide body, a hybrid, and elongated, and most of these shapes are more standard than some of the other companies out there. If you've seen something like the J7NF from Honolulu or the J3NF, it's a pretty different wide body and elongated paddle, whereas this wide body, hybrid, and elongated are all shapes that people are pretty used to, especially the elongated. So if you were looking at some of the paddle shapes from Honolulu and you're like, I'm just not a huge fan of that, I do think that the Bread and Butter ones are a little bit more standardized. Now, the next thing I think we should talk about is the pre-order window for this paddle. Currently, it is on sale for pre-order, but they are not shipping right now. I'm going to pop up a graphic on screen right now that lets you see how they're kind of doing this. They're basically every week for the next couple weeks doing these 72-hour pre-order windows where you can get your order in, and then they have the ship and arrival dates for you. This seems to be so that they can plan inventory a little bit better and make sure that people are actually getting their paddles based on when they place their order. And then the price of the Bread and Butter Loco is going to be $199, and if you use discount code PBStudio, that'll drop down to $180. So with all of that out of the way, what makes the Bread and Butter Loco stand out? First of all, the price is pretty appealing. At $180 for a full foam core paddle, that's a pretty solid deal. The first paddle that kind of started this whole trend was the Honolulu J2NF, and now we have other companies that are kind of sitting around that $200 or a little bit less than $200 range for these higher performance power paddles, which is a very welcome addition to the market. So to really understand this paddle and how it plays, I'm basically going to sandwich it between a Honolulu J2NF and the boomstick. To me, this paddle feels like if you took the Honolulu J2NF and just kind of cranked everything up a little bit. If you took the pop and power and increased it, that's exactly how you end up with this Loco. Personally, in my opinion so far, I think it plays more similarly to a J2NF, just with more pop and power added, than it does play like a boomstick. The boomstick, to me, has this more crisp, immediate response off the face when you hit it. And with the Loco, it's kind of like the NF, where it feels a little bit more dense and the ball kind of sinks into the face, kind of catches and throws it a little bit. Whereas on the boomstick, the second it hits the face, it feels like the ball wants to get off. So if you had tried a Honolulu J2NF and said, I like how this feels, but I just wish it had more pop and power, the Loco is going to be that paddle. Now, one of the other reasons that I think the Bread and Butter Loco might be appealing to people is for those of you who wanted or liked the idea of those Honolulu paddles but didn't like the Bible verse at the top. On the Bread and Butter paddle, there is no Bible verse. So if that was one of the reasons that was holding you back from buying it, you can now get something that's similar, just in a package that's more poppy and more powerful. As I've been playing with the paddles, so far the wide body has been my favorite. I've really only hit the hybrid and the wide body. My brother Isaac has actually been playing the elongated Loco for, I don't know, a couple weeks now, 3 weeks, maybe almost a month whenever we got the first initial prototypes of this, and he's been loving the paddle. He also loves the boomstick, and I think his plan right now is that for local tournaments, he's going to be playing the Loco, and then anytime he goes to a PPA Challenger event where he can't use that because Bread and Butter doesn't have UPA approved paddles, then he's going to be using the boomstick. So anyways, that's why I haven't really hit the elongated yet. He's kind of just had that paddle in his bag since he's got it. But But between the hybrid and the wide body, so far it has felt like I have leaned towards the wide body more than the hybrid. And in general, I'm more of a hybrid guy. I just think the Loco hybrid to me feels like it needs a little bit of extra weight just to be more stable. And I will say that the one we got was actually very low for swing weight. It was around 112, and I feel like I've seen most of them be around 115 to 116. So maybe if I just added a little bit of weight to bump that up, it would feel a little bit more stable. But I haven't had that issue with the wide body, and I've loved how fast it is in the hand. And I imagine that adding a little bit of weight just to give it some more plow through or power on drives would make it even nicer. Personally, if you're trying to decide which shape you should pick, I would just pick whichever shape you are currently already using, unless you're really interested in dabbling in some of the other shapes. So if you're an elongated person, just buy the elongated. If you're a wide body, go with the wide body. And if you like hybrids, go with the hybrid. I don't think there is a big enough difference between the three shapes in this specific lineup that would make you want to switch shapes. If you've always been an elongated guy, I don't think you're going to pick up the wide body and go, oh man, the wide body Loco is just so much better than the elongated. The vast majority of times when it comes to paddles, you're just going to pick the shape that you're already used to. And for me personally, I'm really digging this wide body. As I've been playing with the Loco, I really haven't found anything that I find to be a big weakness with this paddle. It's very similar to how I view the Honolulu J2NF. Like, for what it is, it's a very easy, consistent paddle to use. Because of their hybrid shape being so stable, the sweet spot is awesome, it's fast in the hand, and it hits the ball hard enough. It's not so much that it's going to get everyone in trouble, but if you want to put a ball away or hit a nice counter, it will give it to you. And with the Loco, it just takes all of that and just turns it up one dial and makes it even more aggressive. And since I've been playing a lot with the boomstick lately, coming into the Loco felt like a very easy transition. In fact, some things just felt a little bit easier in the soft game because it's not quite as poppy. So yeah, just like the Honolulu J2NF, I just don't really know that this paddle has much of a weakness unless you're someone that just can't control more powerful poppy paddles. Maybe as we work on a full review, we'll start to unpack things and find that there's some small nuances that would maybe make it a bit of a drawback. But so far in the early impressions, I'm really not finding anything that's a problem. So anyways, that's the first impressions of the brand new Bread and Butter Loco. I think this is an awesome paddle, and if you don't mind waiting until October with some pre-orders, this is a paddle that I think a lot of people are going to enjoy. But if you already own a boomstick, a Honolulu J2NF, or some of these other full foam core paddles that just recently came out, I would not feel pressured to go and buy one of these. All of the paddles that have come out in the last month and a half, 2 months, have all been awesome top tier paddles. And if you have one of those, you really don't need to feel like you're missing out a ton and, oh man, I'm going to squeeze out an extra 10 to 15 performance. Really what I think the Loco has done is added an extra option in between certain paddles that might be more appealing to certain people, depending on the pop and power they wanted, and also the branding that is on the paddle. So yeah, there you go. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.